respect.
Yes.
But my goodness, tell us the influences on this.
You mean like other movies that were? The other movies that I thought about a lot while we were getting ready was Audition, the Takashi Miike.
You mentioned that.
Yeah.
Audition, which we showed at Frightfest way back.
Yeah, I just thought it dealt with a lot of the same sort of sexual themes, and it had a lot of, it kind of reinvents itself midway through in a way I thought was really great. There's a lot of Sam Raimi in this. He's the greatest, so there's a lot of that. Angst, the Austrian film, the whole chapter with Richard was very much styled off of Angst, just directly lifted. And then as for the story, I'd read this book, The Gift of Fear, by this security consultant, Gavin DeBecker. And it's a book that basically encourages women to not ignore a lot of the subtle red flags that can come up in day-to-day interactions with men. And these little red flags can be very innocuous things, like a man touching you in a non-sexual way that you didn't initiate, or complimenting you when it's not appropriate, or doing you a favor that you didn't ask for. And as I was reading this book, I just had this realization that, I don't have to think about this sort of thing ever in my life, because I, as a man, occupy a completely separate psychic landscape than a woman does, even though we might occupy the same physical landscape. And it was a real eye-opening read for me. And so I didn't want to write a movie, I just wanted to write a scene where I could load an interaction with a man and a woman with as many of these little tiny red flags as I possibly could. That was it. I just wanted to write just that. And so I thought of the Airbnb double booking, and that's why Keith does all these little things that maybe are not insidious necessarily, but certainly potentially threatening. And then it just kind of went from there. And I honestly, as I was writing, I didn't know that the mother, as we call her, existed until she appeared in the darkness. That was a surprise to me. That's how I kind of wrote the whole thing.
And the cast is amazing, isn't it? So
I think so. Bill is a dream. I couldn't have asked for a better face when that door opens. I feel like everyone in the room is like, he's bad, and that's what we want. Justin is hilarious and never been so vile before, so I thought it was really great to portray such a despicable person through a funny Tom Hanks kind of a dude. And Georgina is like the greatest actor I've ever worked with. She's just fantastic. Yeah.
So we've got some cool bits.
Oh, I'm sorry, were you going to point it? My producers are here. The Boulder Lake guys who made this with me, so I want to shout out to JD and Raphael.
JD and Raphael.
This was not an easy script to sell. It's a weird movie, and I tried for about 1.5 years to get anybody to take this seriously. And nobody did. I sent it to everyone I knew until they read it and they got behind it, and then we were off to the races. So.
And one of the reasons this movie is a Frightfest, apart from the fact that you had this festival in mind when you're making it, is the two producers who are here tonight, and they helped us get this movie, was that they were here with Contracted Phase 2, which they produced, and another movie. What was the other film that you guys did? What was the other one?
Bad Match and Contracted Phase 1. Okay.
Yep, Contracted Phase 1 and Bad Match. So that's how oh my goodness, what a leap up. So they were over
I think it's a
literally
leap up. That's
over
right.
in the disco screen, and I said, if you can produce or make something, and here it is. So over to you. If you've got a few questions, put your hand up and we give you some nice bits. Let you choose.
I can't see, so
don't go to the right.
All right, well, let's go to the right.
We're not going to go exclusively to the right. Yeah. We might go left. Is there a roving mic in the house? Mike or somebody from cinema?
Yell it out.
D. Row D. Row D.
Just yell.
Row D.
Yeah, you row D.
Row D.
Row D.
Row D.
Yeah.
Row D.
All right. So, all right. If you can hear me.
I'll repeat the question.
Yeah. So my question is, what kind of inspired you on the kind of the satirical elements of the film, like the commentary on Hollywood and all the stuff that revolves around Justin, basically, all that stuff?
What inspired me on the satirical political stuff? I wrote it in 2018. There's a lot going on in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
It was just on my mind. I think it was on most people's minds, and that's what was going on with me.
Next question. Okay, we'll do it without mics, but project. You, there. Both of you, in fact.
love the film.
Thank you.
The scene which really sort of stuck in my mind was Justin Long getting breastfed. I want to know, where the fuck did that come from?
The scene that stuck in his mind was Justin Long being breastfed. Where the fuck did that come from? Okay, so I don't know. I don't want to get too hung up on any kind of process anything, but I really tried to turn my brain off when I'm writing and let it be purely subconscious and to surprise myself. So page to page, I don't know where I'm going. At that point, it felt appropriate for him to be raped because he had been raped. And so I felt like there's no way he can get to the end of this movie without experiencing some shade of the harm that he's inflicted on others. So I felt like this was good. Now we cut a scene where he refuses to latch, and so she snatches up a rat and she chews it up and she baby birds him, and we filmed it perfectly where like Justin was such a good sport. I should have stepped into the light. And you know, Matthew, who plays the mother, you know, really masticated this prosciutto and dropped it right direct bullseye into his mouth, and it was pretty gross. But we realized that it couldn't stay in the movie because you don't want to see the shark too much, you know what I'm saying? And there's no way to show that without getting really up close, and it was just not appropriate yet, so it had to go.
Okay, man up front.
Did you actually shoot any of it? Did you actually shoot any of it in Detroit?
Yes, we did.
How sketchy a place was it to actually shoot?
It's what it looks like. Yeah, so that's Brightmoor. So we shot in Bulgaria, and so our hero street, we had a street on a field, and we erected 13 facades of houses that looked exactly like Detroit. And then we went to Detroit, and we filmed in Brightmoor when she's traveling through the neighborhood in the car and on foot and downtown. I'd had a lot of experience in Detroit, so I'd been in those neighborhoods, not Brightmoor, but in similar neighborhoods before. So that was another thing that was really on my mind as I was writing this as well. You know, it's a completely embarrassing, neglected part of our society in America, and it's a shame. That's what it is. Yeah.
I really love the soundtrack. It really sold the tension and the energy of the film.
Thank you.
Without being like too intrusive or overbearing. Can you talk about how you worked with your soundtrack artist to design that?
It was a real challenge in post. We had a composer come on with about 3 weeks to do the whole movie. We'd had some snags and some hiccups and a couple of dead ends, and so Anya Drubik, our composer, came in, and at that point, I had built a temp score that was very thorough, so she had to just kind of be okay with me being, you know, over her shoulder and really kind of dictating, maybe more than she's comfortable with, like, okay, it does this now, and it does this now, and blah, blah, blah. But she was great. I mean, to pull that off in 3 weeks is it's miraculous. There's 2 needle drops. The one is called Necro, and it's this British woman who I have never met. I hope to meet her one day. I found her on Spotify. It's A001, and it's that boom, 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 just that pulsing synth when she's moving down the hallway. And that was just in my head from when I was writing. I was listening to that, and so it was a real treat for me to put that in the movie. But everything else Anya really invented.
Next person, middle.
Thanks for a fantastic set of frills and spills in there.
Thank you.
My question is, was the ending ever going to be darker? Because at the point when Tess got shot, I thought, oh fuck, that's the end of it. This piece of shit's going to get away with it. And I wondered, did you ever have in mind a bleaker ending than the one you ended with?
No.
Next.
I've seen it compared to Malignant, the sort of jaw drop horror cinema. How do you feel about that comparison to Malignant?
I don't really want to comment on that.
Okay, person there.
There is a mention in the movie at one point that the woman is not the worst thing out there.
Right.
And there is a mention about the children upon children. So I'm wondering, is that a setup maybe for part 2, or was there an intention to have more of the inbreds shown?
So the idea, the question was, there's a comment about she's not even the worst thing inside the house, and is that a tee up for a sequel? No. There's, in my mind, and I don't want to say, but in my imagination, there's no other inbred anything in the house. She is the final. She's the end of the line, as Morrissey would say. And I think it was a line that caused a lot of friction, actually, because I think some people might be a little let down by that line. When he says she's not even the worst thing in there, I do think the imagination goes crazy, which is by design, and we think maybe there's something bigger and meaner, and then, to me, it's very satisfying that he's referring to a frail old man. But he is right. I mean, Frank is infinitely worse than the mother. So that's why I fought to keep that.
We'll go this side.
Was it intentional to have some of the characters blind to their own hypocrisy and being self-centered?
Was it intentional to have some of the characters blind to their own hypocrisy?
The girl was obviously just concerned about her safety and privacy and security, but then she takes a picture of a person's ID without consent.
That's so funny. I never thought of her taking a photo of his ID as an act of hypocrisy. I thought of that more as just pure self-preservation and wisdom. Sorry?
And he did it because she thinks cancer.
Wait, say again?
Ooh. Bit of a discussion
I wanna
going
hear-
on
I wanna
there.
hear what?
Sounds like.
She took it in the first place for her own safety without permission, but then she kept it on the phone because she cured cancer, still keeping that address, that picture.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
I'm not gonna, I mean, sure.
Okay, that person there.
By the way, I love that that's your reaction to that. That's great. Fair enough.
Wow, person there.
Thank you. Was it a conscious thing to have a man playing the mother? It was just because, and I could have been wrong. I was certainly open to casting a woman in that role, but I needed someone over 7 feet who was physically imposing. And I had this, there's like, Saturn Devouring Its Young, or, I had a Beowulf kids book as a youngster, and it had a illustration of Grendel's mother that was just so hulking, and it looked like this. It was this. I gave that drawing to the team. And I just didn't expect I would find someone as powerful as I was looking for. I'm sorry? More roles for big women? Fair enough. And believe me, had I found a woman that could have fit the bill, I would have been all over it.
Okay, one, maybe two more. Person there.
Thank you. The title, it's not obvious what it means. Yeah, it's not.
Brilliant. Because again, the trailer doesn't reveal much. So
Right.
the trailer, I think, is genius, where it kind of, now that you've seen it, you'll see the trailer and go, well, it kind of hints delicately. Is that the final trailer, or are they going to go?
No, that's
with
it. That's the
That's
final
it. So
trailer,
it's just
yeah.
one
Yeah,
trailer.
just one.
Wow. All right, one more question, guys.
I didn't
Make
mean,
it a
to,
good
be,
one.
curt or dismissive of your question, but I feel like it's better left to the mind.
All right, one more. Right at the very, very, very back. I see a hand waving as if in the distance.
I have used Airbnb many times.
That is brilliant.
I posted on Airbnb. I'm a fan of Airbnb. I endorse their product. I just, yeah.
Fantastic. We've already been through, the release and stuff like that of Barbarian. I knew you were going to love it from the moment I saw it. What are you going to be doing next, Zach?
I don't know. I don't.
Okay. And have you enjoyed Frightfest? How
I have
has your
loved-
first Frightfest experience been for you?
I hope it's the first of many. It's been wonderful. Thank you guys
Thank
for
you
having me.
so much.
Thank you very much.